Hi there. I want to talk about breathing, especially during pregnancy today. So, breathing is really important for everybody, and no matter if pregnant or not, how you breathe throughout the day can make a really big impact on how your body responds and how you feel. But those things get even heightened further during pregnancy and become a little bit more important. So, we'll focus on that today. First and foremost, just keep breathing is the main rule, especially during pregnancy. You're providing your baby oxygen 100% of the time. So just making sure you're continuing to breathe regularly and smoothly is always the first thing to think about. Especially when you're exercising, it can be hard to not hold your breath or like really, get that extra effort and but it is important to make that the priority, is just keeping the breath going in general, not only for the oxygenation of your baby and yourself, but also because if you are bearing down or holding your breath, that can cause extra pressure in the abdomen, which can put some stress and pressure on the pelvic floor, which can lead to other conditions such as incontinence or prolapse, things like that. So whatever you need to do to make sure that you're continuing to breathe nice and smoothly, not doing even like, but just keeping that going throughout. Some strategies might be to count out loud to yourself, the repetitions of whatever exercise you're doing, talking out loud to yourself, a friend, your dog, whatever, or even humming, singing along to the music, things like that. If you are breathing, good job. And let's take it a little bit further into how best to breathe to support your body. So I look at it as two main categories of ways to breathe. The first one is called accessory muscle breathing, and that's basically using muscles that aren't designed to be the first line breathing muscles as your main way to breathe. So those are often the ones in your neck, the shoulders, the chest. So you might think of like a chest breather, or someone that's kind of doing a lot of this, maybe not that exaggerated, but basically using these upper body muscles to get in that breath. And doing that all day long can really cause some extra tension and tightness to those areas, which can be uncomfortable in itself. And in pregnancy, when we're more likely to get conditions such as like carpal tunnel, thoracic outlet syndrome, things that can cause like numbness and tingling in the arms and hands. If you're doing this accessory muscle breathing or this chest breathing, that can exacerbate those things or even cause them in some cases as well. So when possible, we want to avoid that and go more towards that other style of breathing, which is called diaphragmatic breathing. So diaphragmatic breathing is using your muscle called the diaphragm, which sits across the body all the way at the base of the ribs. And it's using that muscle as your primary way to breathe. So when your diaphragm contracts, it pulls down, and that allows the breath to come in and fill the lungs. And then as the muscle relaxes, it passively goes back to place and you passively exhale your air. So that's the basics. Most people, I would say, when they think of diaphragmatic breathing, automatically think belly breathing, which I want to challenge a little bit. So belly breathing is a form of diaphragmatic breathing, but not always the best in all cases. So it can be useful for relaxation, for people that might have really tight, grippy abs that just can't let go in the front at all. Just focusing on a little bit of that belly breathing may be appropriate. But I would say for most of us, it can be more helpful to do a three-dimensional breath. So a couple reasons why the belly breathing might not be ideal. First of all, if you are allowing all of your air to come in and press out into your belly, that doesn't allow your abdominals to keep good tone and support. And so especially when you're working out and want that core stability, that might be hindering it a little bit. Also in pregnancy, a condition called diastasis recti is fairly common, and that's abdominal separation at that midline. And if you think all of your breath coming in and pressing forward in belly breathing, that's going to potentially increase that likelihood of separation, or if you already have a separation, you're just helping to release that fascia and tissue even further, which may not be helpful. I guess those are the main reasons why we don't want to do that. Let's talk about why it can be helpful to do more of the three-dimensional breathing. So you are with the three-dimensional breathing, it doesn't totally eliminate belly breathing. You still want a component of that, but then we're going to also add in some expansion of the side body and back body. So your ribs connect both to the front body at the sternum here, and then also to the joints in your vertebrae in your back. And so with good three-dimensional breathing, both of those joints are moving, and it's called a bucket handle motion. So as you inhale, those ribs both from the front and back open, so you get that bucket handle motion coming out, so that the ribs are kind of coming out like that, and then as you exhale, they come back down. That allows the movement of those joints in your back as well, which can be really helpful, I would say, especially in pregnancy. Back pain and stiffness and tightness can become a bit more problematic, especially as our posture is changing and we're accommodating a bigger belly, things like that. So to allow some mobility can be really great. Plus, we have a lot of muscles through that area of our back and our sides and things like that that can help be mobilized with that more three-dimensional breathing. So for instance, your psoas, which is a big hip flexor and spine stabilizer that attaches to the spine and comes down through the pelvis, that gets a little bit of motion. Your pelvic floor is also more evenly giving motion through that three-dimensional breath versus keeping one side really tight and the other getting all of the mobility. So it can really be great in a lot of ways to just even that breath out throughout the body, taking it out of the neck and shoulders, but then making sure it's getting its share through the front body, side body, and back body. So I encourage you to just try that out a little bit. Just find a comfortable place sitting or laying down, and just start by noticing where your breath naturally goes. Are you naturally doing a little bit of this neck and shoulder and chest breathing? Maybe see if you can soften that, relax, and take that breath a little bit deeper down. And then once you've maybe gotten that, taking a look at where is that breath going. And you might be surprised at like how difficult it really is to get some breath into the side and back body if you're not used to it. So if you make little C shapes with your hands and just put it at the base of your rib cage, and you can try to just breathe into your hands and see if you can find even a little bit of motion through the fingertips, the thumbs, and through that webbing of the hands, and really just get that big inhale opening all the way around, and exhale just relaxing back down. Sometimes it can be helpful to use some images like there's a big balloon that's filling up all the way around through the body and coming down. You can think of that bucket handle motion, or like an umbrella opening all the way in the center of your body and closing back down. Really whatever works for you. But just notice for now, see if you can get that a little bit, and then in the next video I'll go over a couple exercises that might be helpful in facilitating that along.